Sci-Fi Snob, and this is the Toplofty Lounge in for a smooth show for you today. Oh yeah, baby. In the 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, baby. Yeah, here we go. In 11, 10, 9. Oh yeah, baby. Here we come. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Top Lofty Lounge, episode 78. Can't believe it's in that many. Conversations for the Elevated. Welcome to all my fellow snobs out there in Snobland. I am your host, Science Fiction Snob. This week on the program, it's movie night again. We're talking about the 1968 or 67 classic Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston. But before we get into that, let me introduce my co-host. He is the Zira to my Charlton Heston. He is the man who loves legitimate theater. It's Cam. Say hello, Cam.
I was really hoping for a Cornelius identifier there, but good evening, everyone. Good evening, Ape fans.
Good evening, fellow apes and ape fans. Yes, Cam, are you excited about this movie night?
I kind of am. I was. Yes. Let me just say yes. I'll elaborate later.
All right. Good answer. Okay. Before we get into things, do we have anything? Well, I have to ask the usual. What did you do to increase your sci-fi snobbery during the week?
I'm going to say probably nothing, but this last week was a blur, so I'm not really sure. I know I attempted to pick up my copy of the Alien role-playing game twice, but it has not arrived.
What?
Yeah.
And what is this? UPS? Who is this? FedEx?
No, it's through my local store, and I know I've talked to the owner several times, and I know that he's got it on order, and I know that the release date was supposed to be the 18th, but with distributors and everything, I'm not sure when it's going to come in, but it should be hopefully before next week.
Oh yeah, all right, that's awesome. What did I do? I can't even remember. It's been a blur, but I'm the same way. But I do want to mention this is something special, I think, for the viewers as well. I spent today. I did an interview. We're doing interviews on the show now. I did an interview today, recorded with Neil Asher. He was so kind to agree to do an interview with a tiny channel like us. Now, I mean, I don't know if you know. Do you know? I don't know if you know Asher very well.
I do not.
Yeah, not at all. Well,
but I hear he's a great guy.
It was a great interview. 2 hours long. He was very, very open and easy guy to talk to. But I don't think people understand how big. Like, if you think of modern science fiction writers, people who are still writing, who do you think of? What names come across your mind?
Right.
Like, no, I'm asking you a question.
Well, I don't have any. You
don't have any at all. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Neil Asher. That's who.
He is definitely at the top. I mean, of the people who are still writing. I mean, there are people who are, you might say Asimov is bigger. Asimov has been dead for years. I mean, he's not still writing. He's huge. He is
way above this channel. Way above this channel.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I'd put him up there with, Corey.
Yeah.
He's the guy who wrote. Well, sorry, it's not a real name. There's two guys, but I've
heard the name.
Yeah, they wrote the Expanse series, and season, so people know about them. He's at least as big as them, and to be honest, I'd say he's bigger. They have about 10 books. Neil Asher has like 40. He is, pretty well known. I really can't think of any other, other than, I mean, like David Brin, Larry Niven, who I talk about, but, Larry Niven, I don't think writes much anymore. He hasn't put out a book in a while. I do believe, Kevin J. Anderson. I think I'd say Neil Asher was as big as him, at least I would. But yeah, it's pretty hard. Anyway, I think you'll enjoy the interview. It's going to be up on this show next week. We'll put it up next Sunday night. It'll be the show. The interview goes 2 hours. I think you'll enjoy it. He's a good guy. Yeah, he's got some stuff to. We speak a lot about his books. We kind of go through them. He tells me a little bit about them. If you want to read a good science fiction novel and you want to read his stuff, you don't know what to start with and stuff, we'll get some advice about that, about the books. And we talk a little bit about, things that are going around in the world, a little bit of politics and stuff. He's pretty open about what he says. I am aiming way above my pay grade. I'm big time like this. This is the equivalent of if you were running a horror YouTube channel and you got an interview with Stephen King. That's the kind of level so, yeah. Jeff, yeah, you're on the wrong. Oops, wrong count. Anyway, but yeah, that's kind of the thing, sort of Stephen King he's the Stephen King of science fiction. I at least up at that level with those kind of guys. But anyway, enough about me and what.
Well, I should know I'm being furloughed without pay next week. So.
You're being furloughed without pay. Yes. Well, I understand you might be cheating on me anyway. So. But anyway, we can talk about that later. Anyway, even if Cam is cheating on me, I'm in a good mood. I care. I had a great interview. I think it's going to be good. I'm hoping he'll agree to interview us again. And I think he enjoyed just talking about. We talked a little bit before and after, just about sort of. Not everyday things, but things were going on in the world and that kind of stuff. I think he'd be happy to, just chat about topics and things not necessarily related to writing. And he sounds like a pretty good guy. Yeah. Why do you have a random A now? I don't know what that means. All right. I don't know what that means.
Okay. Because Google sometimes puts in the account name instead of just your chosen. Like you see how everybody's names are carrying some extra letters and crap in the chat?
I didn't notice. Oh, wait, you're right. I see. Oh, look at this. You're right. What's going on?
I don't know. It's happened before, though. I don't know.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Maybe they're tracking us or something.
I'm sure they are.
Damn government. All right. Well, let's say hello to everyone in the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a big piece of news.
Okay.
X has on X/Twitter has decided to put some information on where accounts come from on there, so you could see where these people are posting
the
from.
X accounts.
Yeah, and I've discovered that Sci-Fi Snob is a filthy Canadian.
What? You knew that?
Oh, I thought you were an Albertan.
Yeah, which is in Canada.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense then.
Oh, you don't? You didn't know that?
I considered Alberta its own state. So.
We kind of do. We say that, but officially it's not. We're under the thumb of the Canadians so far. But there's probably be a vote next year. We'll see what happens. It'll be interesting. All right. Well, let's say who's in the chat. Michael's in chat. Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you. Snugs is here, of course, causing problems for Cam and everybody, I'm sure. We appreciate that. James is in the chat. James, good to see you. Death Angel Shadow, good to see you. Brian Lumley's better with horror. What? I've never heard of him. Maybe he is. I don't know much about horror. I don't like horror. I just, whenever I think horror, I think Stephen King. PB is in the chat. Good to see you. Who else? Am I missing anybody? I don't think I got. I think I got everybody. All right. It says we got 8 people in the chat. All right, for this discussion. That's good. We're going to have a good one. Yeah, and look this time next week for my exclusive interview with Neil Asher. And, check out his writing and stuff. It's pretty good. I enjoy it. I've been reading it. He breaks my my rule about anything but anybody who wrote after the year 2000 sucks. He's one of the few that is pretty good. He's him. James Corey is pretty good. A couple others, but yeah, and lots of books to choose from. Good stories. We'll have to do a little bit more on him. Does somebody do my laundry? No, my wife does the laundry mostly, or me. Yeah. Okay. Cam, should we jump right into it, or did I miss something?
I'm sure we missed something, but hey, let's go for it anyway.
Okay, well, let's jump right into it. So, Planet of the Apes. Do you want to start us off talking about it? Give us the background of the story.
Well, okay,
or just a summary or something. Or
let me give a little personal prologue with this. Way back in the day, back when I was a young lad, I got wind of Planet of the Apes somewhere somehow. I'm not sure. I don't remember where, but I do know that there were toys put out by a company called Mego, which I am quite sure that my first exposure to that was superheroes. So they had like DC and Marvel superheroes, like Batman and things. So these were like 8-inch, no, not 8-inch, maybe 10-inch dolls. So or action figures, I should say.
That's right, action figures.
Right, and so then they also did Star Trek and Planet of the Apes. So I don't know. I know there were kids in my neighborhood that had like these other things and Planet of the Apes. So this was somewhat after. This wasn't 1968. This was sometime after. And we'll probably get into this. There was a TV show that came in the 70s, I think, in 72 or 74
there
or
was,
something. So a lot of the stuff was also crossed kind of with that. So I don't know what years these things actually came out. I do know that they weren't readily available. So for whatever reason, I liked those toys. And I remember again, somehow getting wind of this, that Planet of the Apes was this is again way before VCRs and things, was showing on TV, but it was like after the nightly news, so 10, 11 o'clock kind of thing. I think it was, so it was right late at night. Well, no, I didn't sneak it. I think there was one time when they showed it like in the afternoon, like after school time, because the ABC affiliate used to show movies at like between, like before dinner time, kind of thing sometimes. But it was the late one that I remember. So I remember having to, I was young enough. I literally had to take a nap, in the afternoon so I could stay up late to watch this movie, which was probably, too adult for me at the time, but I was crazy for it. So I cajoled my parents into letting me watch. Anyway, that's when I watched Planet of the Apes when I was, I'm guessing 7, 8 years old kind of thing. Anyway, so I've loved it. I was a huge fan of it. I eventually watched all the movies and everything, and collected what toys there were available, which were, like I said, very sparse. It was like kind of leftovers at that point. But I did have a few that I liked, and even throughout other times, just a smattering of other Planet of the Apes merchandise. I had a record, like a storybook record. It was basically
really?
a comic and a record that played along, with it. Had the first 2 movies actually for that. I think I still have those.
I didn't even know those existed.
Yeah, if I thought about it, I should have pulled those out and taken some photos of them. I could maybe do that for a follow up, a quick little bit. But anyway, so yeah, I've been a big fan for the longest time, and then I'm sorry, I'll let us get into the movie, but I did eventually. Boy, it was more recently, but maybe 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, kind of thing. I did read the novel in which the movie was loosely based, and we might touch on that a little bit. But anyway, that's just kind of personal background of Planet of the Apes. So yes, I'm excited about this episode.
Yeah, and just to answer Jeff's question here, there were 5 original Planet of the Apes movies. This is from they've redone them again, right? So I think there's 6.
Yeah, there's a whole series of newer ones.
I like the originals, but yeah, there's 5 Planet of the Apes, and then Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Escape from, Conquest of, and Battle for the Planet of the Apes. So there's 5 of them. I have the DVD collection of all of all 5 movies. Plus, I think it's got a special edition DVD with
I
special
think
features or something like that. So
I think I probably have the same one. Are they like color like red, green?
yeah, they're
I,
colored to the movie. Yeah, you
yep,
probably got the same one.
yeah.
So yeah,
Pre
they're pretty
Blu-ray.
good. Yeah, they're not minor DVDs, not Blu-rays.
Right, right.
But I can't remember. I got them a couple, some years ago. But yeah, good, very good. Lots of movies, and I've seen them all before. I got the DVD for whatever reason. I think
Okay,
the first one.
I thought I thought you were new to this.
No. I've seen the movie before.
Okay.
This I think this one plus Beneath the Planet of the Apes are the most interesting to me because because of the themes and stuff that they dig into. Like the themes of this one, which we should just jump right into. Maybe we should talk a little first before we start a little bit of the background of the movie. Now, I thought it was released in 1967, but it says here 1968, February of 1968, and April of 1968 in the United States. It was a budget of $5.8 million, which does not seem low to you? Especially considering all the makeup, right? I think this movie had the most makeup artists on it at the time, like because of all the ape stuff they had to do. But $5.8 million, and it made $33 million at the box office. So very much a success, which I could be why they made 4 more of them. Yeah. Trading cards and series of the cards based on the TV show. Yeah, there's a TV show. There's all kinds of stuff. Couldn't find the collection anywhere. I'm surprised. I thought it was fairly common, but maybe not. Any comments on that, Cam?
About the
No.
I don't know. I don't have a good feel for what the price was. I think that was probably a fairly standard big budget movie. Let me do a little quick search on that.
Yeah, I think it was. I thought it would be a little higher because of the fact that it was there's a lot going on there, and Charlton Heston's pretty big at the time.
Yes.
Did you watch? If you watched the DVD, did you watch any of the trailers for the movies?
No.
Oh, the first DVD has.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the first DVD has trailers for all of the movies on it as one of its special features. I checked it out, and I'm like, they're kind of giving away some of the stuff in the trailer. I'm like, is this really a theatrical trailer? Was this really like that?
Are we having a little bit of a delay on the?
Maybe. Are we?
I don't know. Your response was delayed to me.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well,
all right.
In any case,
let's push through.
Okay. Well, I think we're definitely having a delay here. In any case, I just looked it up. It said the cost for your average major motion picture would be $3 to $4 million. It's listed 2001: Space Odyssey at $10.5 million around the same time, which would be, a heavy budget. So the 5 point whatever was probably pretty typical.
Maybe a little above average. Yeah. All right. Okay. Good. Now, plot of the movie. You want to quickly go over the plot? You want to do that, Cam? Or
sure.
Go ahead, real quick.
Okay. You know what? Can I jump out and try and come back in maybe and see if we have a problem?
I'll start going. I'll go over the plot a little bit. You jump out.
Okay. I'm going to jump out and rejoin.
Okay. All right. So real quick, the plot of the movie starts out with the astronauts, Taylor, Landon, and Dodge. They are traveling in hyperspace. They're going, supposed to be going about 300 light years away into, all right, you're back. All right. Supposedly going into a future star system somewhere on the belt of Orion, I think is what they mentioned. They travel, they've only been traveling, they travel 18 months, but it's about 2,000 years total by the time they crash land on an unknown planet. One of the Stewart, the only female of their 4-person crew, dies in the sleep chamber. So it's just the three of them. They crash in some water in a barren area, and they have to escape. They cross this barren land looking for some sort of life. They start finding trees and that sort of thing. They stumble on a bunch of humans. Oh wow, creatures who look like humans and appear to be humans, but aren't. They don't talk. They about that same time, the the humans start to take off and run away. Apes show up and they capture the humans. The apes are obviously a lot more highly technical than the humans are. The humans can't talk. They capture them all, and they take them to Ape City, where Charlton Heston gets shot in the neck, so he can't talk. He's separated from Landon, and Dodge is killed in that thing. Is shot when they're captured, and we go from there. We find out that maybe we should just start with that and go on, not give away the whole movie.
Sure.
What do you think? Yeah. Do you want to talk about that? Let's talk about the start of the movie up to that point then.
Okay.
Any your thoughts?
Well, it's again, this part, the very beginning was not fresh in my. I mean, I had seen it. I hadn't seen the movie before this week for at least 10 years, but so I remembered it. But going back to the earliest days, I didn't really remember the whole beginning with Taylor, and kind of doing his monologue, with his log while on the spaceship. But so that part was a little new-ish to me, and I missed the very beginning of what you're saying. If you got into what he was talking about.
No, I went over real quick. I just said,
okay.
I didn't actually mention anything about his speech.
Okay, so in short, he's very jaded and cynical. He's some people have described him as a misanthrope. His view on humanity is pretty dim, and so he's giving his speech about their mission, which I have to admit is a little it's a little well, the mission or his speech.
Well, let's start with the mission.
Yeah, I mean, they're okay. They're sending 4 people, only one female, to a place, and they're not quite sure on what it is. I assume they have an idea that it's going to be habitable by humans. They don't really talk about that. Their ship doesn't have any apparent large number of supplies, anything, and with the whole time dilation thing, which they talk about, it wasn't an accident. Yeah, they knew. At the beginning, they had been basically active and preparing, for the earlier, the first 6 months of the voyage, and 700 years had already gone by on Earth. It's like, well, what are they exactly going to be doing here? It's like, let's say that they do get to their destination, they land in good order and do what? It's. Are they going to take a survey and then send it back to people that will have forgotten about them? It's
who might not exist, who might not know anything about.
So that's very shaky to me. It doesn't. I mean, they were trying to use real physics and time dilation and all that, but they looking back, it seems to me that if they would have chosen something more like. They were going to Alpha Centauri or something that's way closer, 4 light years or something like that away. And it's maybe it's effectively 5 years or 10 years in the future. And then they had the thing where it's like, oh my gosh, something went wrong and we're 2,000 years in the future or something.
Yeah, gone through a wormhole or something.
Right. So it's like they wanted to put the time dilation thing in there and they didn't really consider the ramifications of it, is what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's because of the writer or the writer of the book, or the original book, because I haven't read it, or if it's the movie. But I mean, I agree. Like, no, it's not. Like they don't have any supplies. Like, how are they going to survive? They've got one girl and 3 guys. I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
Mm-hmm. And then at least Taylor mentions that later on. Kind of.
Yeah, send them 2 males and 2 females. Then it would be like, it wouldn't be a problem. And then like, oh, he's going to repopulate the Earth. Well, I don't know if they don't mention anything that there's something wrong with the Earth. Like the movie, I'm assuming that it started. They talk. Well, sorry, they talk about Landon being in class of 72. So it's probably maybe 10 years later, and it's the late 70s when they're leaving, like that kind of thing. So it's but they don't mention, oh, the Earth has been destroyed, that's why we're leaving, or there's all these problems, that's why we're leaving. Nothing. I'm just going to send four people, one female and three males. I'm going to send them off 2,000 2,000 years into the future, in a sense, and hope that when they land on this planet that may not be able to sustain life, that everything goes okay. I mean, it's
well, and even
if
it did go okay, again, it's who are they reporting back to? It's so not good. Now I'll just make a note.
Radio waves are going to take how long? Like 300 years to get back.
250 years. Yeah, it's right. 250 or 300 light years away.
20 years, I think. They talk about it's 320 light years away or something. But
right. So it's basically, once they've left, it's over. There is no more contact with Earth. It's effectively done.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to mention the whole how many science fiction stories I've read where somebody sends a generational ship. I mean, this is not quite a generational ship, but it's the same idea. It sends a generational ship somewhere, and by the ship never gets there, because by the time it goes close to light speed, 1,000 years have passed, and they've only experienced 20 years or something like that. And back on Earth, we discover hyperspace, space, or can travel at faster than light speed, and then we rush up to them and catch up to them and say, hey, sorry we sent you on this trip. We got a better way. We can come on the ship and we'll get here tomorrow, type of thing, right? Like that's what would happen. Probably. It's been 2,000 years.
Right. And the other thing that I'm trying to remember how this would work physics wise. So they're traveling at sublight speed, but
near the speed of light.
Near, right, but still below.
They say the speed of light, but you can't travel at the speed of light, right? So
right. So, but the point is, okay, so let's say they are. They're almost at the speed of light. So it would roughly take 250, 300 years, supposedly, of their time to get there, wouldn't it?
No, because time dilation. It would be less. Like, you will be a lot less than, and there's a mathematical equation. I think with Einstein you can figure out that if you travel this close to the speed of light, if you go at 99.99999, then this time will pass this much. I think I don't quote me on this because I don't know it offhand, but I remember seeing the CERN, the CERN in CERN, that big circle thing where they fire the accelerator, where they fire protons around. It's like 28 kilometers long, but at 99.99999 something, I don't know how many nines. It's actually, for the protons, it feels like they're only going 4 meters instead of 28,000 meters. So it is kind of it's logarithmic. It gets the closer you go, the bigger the thing is. So I'm not sure if their math is right, but I'm pretty sure that it could be 2 years for yourself, and yet 2,000 years for pass in the in real space, so to speak.
Okay.
So I don't know if that really answers your question, but I mean, I didn't find any problem with that. Not doing the math, but and we don't know exactly how. They say they're traveling at the speed of light, but they're traveling close to the speed of light. So the super collider in CERN, that's it. Yeah. So
okay, what I'm basing this off of is, and this is a little bit rabbit hole, but a radio wave traveling at the speed of light takes 100 years to go 100 light years.
Yeah. Radio waves travel at the speed of light. That's what my understanding. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, Jeff would tell us. Yes.
I don't know. Is that the speed? Is that the speed of light? I don't know.
Yes, electromagnetic waves. I believe, travel. Well, yeah, 3, right.
Yeah.
Okay,
So you're right. It
whatever.
would be 300 years to get back. So they're kind of screwed. Like,
Yeah.
hey, we crashed. All right, they'll let us know, and they'll find out in 300 years. So
Okay. All that said, yes, there's it's a weird setup, right, for what exactly was supposed to happen with this,
yeah.
but that's not really the focus of the movie.
No,
So
no, you're
yeah,
right. We've gone down.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Charlton Heston Taylor's attitude.
Yeah, like I said, he's very extremely cynical. It's like it's in, and we kind of later find out. He elaborates on this a little bit. It's like, yeah, he basically took this because he was just fed up with humanity. It's like, yeah, I'm going to leave because what's going on here is just not for me. It's like, I not just dissatisfaction with like, politics or society, whatever. It's like he just the whole ball of wax. It seems he was done with.
Yeah, and it didn't seem to be well, my understanding is that the American government usually picks astronauts, like their mental profile is very psychological profile is very important. Would they ever even pick the guy like that? Like he's openly like this, and they know about it because Landon, comments on it. Yeah, everyone knows what you're like. So it was not like a secret before the mission. So, would you even want a guy like that on the mission?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's like, well, why? Yes, why? Why would you do that? So, okay, but I guess if we set all that aside, it's telling us something about the character, that that will come into play later. Um,
he's the leader. So he's super cynical, but I'm still down the rabbit hole because this kind of bothered me a little. Like they're walking across, they're trying to find life, and he's the leader of the expedition, and he's Landon the gears all the time, laughing at him. Oh, you put the flag in the thing, like takes the piss out of him, laughing at him.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're the boss. You're supposed to keep these guys' morale up. They've crashed. Their chick is dead. I mean, and he's laughing at him. Oh, you are like he's an idiot. I'm like, it's not good leadership as far as I can tell.
Yeah, it's badgering. It's like this is a survival situation essentially they find themselves in, and it's like, and he's adding stress to it. It's like he's, it's very bizarre. But
I didn't get punched in the face.
Well, I mean, it kind of almost came. Landon's like, "Get off my back," and then he keeps going at him, and he's like, "I said, get off my back." It's like, but
you can't court-martial me here. There's nobody to.
Yeah. And that's the exact wrong thing to do. But again, it's telling us about his state of mind, I suppose, is
yeah. And Landon seems a little off too. The only one, Dodge seems like, he's all like positive, and he's the only guy to, of course he gets shot.
Yeah. Right, and he's portrayed as the science. He's the true scientist, right?
Yeah. Like he seems like the science guy.
Right. Landon says something like he'd walk into a volcano,
yeah, to find out infrared stuff. Yeah. No, good point. Were you going to go somewhere with that? Or?
Well, no. But on the other side of that is that, he is kind of telling him, he says it's like, you better accept it. It's kind of like, because Landon was trying to, like, it's like he wants to hold on to these things, out of context that at some point might become a problem. So what he was doing might have been appropriate at some point, but not right then,
Yeah, they just land. Yeah. So, okay. So they they only have 3 days of food. So it's not, we don't see them sleep, but we assume it's sort of less than 3 days. Right. And so the first thing they find, they finally, they see the X's, I guess, whatever they think they call them scarecrows. They see them, and that we know that from the future movies and stuff. That is the barrier or the area where the forbidden zone begins. So they've crashed in the forbidden zone, and they've just left the forbidden zone. And they come across, as soon as they go out, they actually they hear a waterfall. They see much more greenery, and they go into they find a little cove sort of with some water. And the first thing they do is all of them strip down naked and go for a swim. Now, what do you think about that?
Well, it wasn't.
Michael's doing the math for us.
They didn't clearly depict how long they were traveling. They said initially they had 3 days before they ran out of supplies, but it didn't seem to indicate more than 1 day. I don't think did they show them overnight. I don't think they did.
They didn't show them overnight, but we assume it's within a 3-day period.
Yeah, so I mean, they seem to be happy to be out of the desert and in some refreshing water. Because again, they at the beginning they thought it's like where they were. They took a test and it's like the soil's dead here. Nothing can grow here. And then they eventually found a little bit of a small plant, and then they kind of followed it. And then
do you like the plant? I mean, the plant was obviously, just stuck in the ground.
And then they dug it up.
And then they dig it up, and they just like throw it away.
Yeah,
there's no life in this planet. Oh, we found some. Who cares?
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, but yeah, okay. I'm okay with that. It's like, I mean, I guess they didn't expect anybody to be around, so, it was just like, yeah, okay, sure. Let's have a little swim.
Well, let me just before we go into that, let's go back a little. I did like the part where they're walking along and you start seeing, figures up top, right? They're going into a low ground through a canyon, and over top we start to see, figures on the top of the mountains, hills or whatever. So, and they don't notice them. And I thought that was good. Like that was well done to sort of punch up the tension in the film a little bit, right? Like, you're going along, oh, they haven't seen anybody. And, oh, what's that up the top there? Are those the apes? You're kind of like, what's going on? So I thought that was well done.
Yeah, that's true.
And then they get to the swimming hole. But I mean, even I would still put somebody to watch your clothes. Like, you don't know if there's big animals around.
It was pretty reckless, I guess.
And then right away, Landon calls him over and says, hey, there's a footprint here, and it's not ours. Now, of course, it's too late by then, because then they look around and somebody's stealing all their stuff.
Yeah. And that triggered me as a kid. It's like, the wreck of it's like they only have this small amount of stuff and it's getting wrecked. Like when they're chasing them down, and it's like, he picks up something like a sample kit or something. It's like pours, they broke like the glass vials or something there. I was like, oh my God, it's an atrocity.
Dirty humans. They're just, oh, look, I don't know what this is. Let's break it.
Yeah. So, I that was bothersome, but okay. So they did it. And so then they obviously they start chasing them down, and then, these primitive humans, they kind of observe them kind of far away, but I mean, not really far away. So again, they didn't exercise much caution. It's because, it was, I don't know how many, 50 of them or something.
Yeah. Some sort of, let's say 50. Sure.
And they already displayed at a minimum careless. I'm talking about the primitives, that they would wreck their stuff, I mean, and they didn't, they looked primitive. And they just kind of were standing there just like, oh, well, we'll just eat some fruit here with them and kind of discuss it, so that was, again, a little strange. Again, when I watched this as a kid or whatever, I wasn't like concerned about any of this stuff. It was like, oh, sure, let's get to the apes.
I actually didn't mind this scene, the whole where they're standing there, because I thought it was well done in the sense that, the humans are all like, they're all together, they're doing their thing, and they've seen these weird guys, but they're not threatened by them, right? Mm-hmm. Like they obviously, the humans are I guess, reasonably peaceful. I mean, we find out they fight later on with each other, but they seem relatively peaceful. They're not threatened by them. And then there's a point where they all stop. Every single one of the primitives stop, and they start looking around. Like they look around in one direction. and our three astronauts go, "Oh, what's going on?" But they're not really looking at them, and then you hear the noise, and then they all start to run, right? Which is the apes are coming. So I found it interesting that they actually detected the apes before, or they knew somehow with their primitive instincts. Maybe the birds stopped calling or whatever, but they seem to detect that before the astronauts did. And the astronauts, why are they just standing around? Why do they all stop? And they all freeze. They all just, and then we get into the capture of the humans by the apes. So I thought that was well done. That part, I like that.
Right. And so another little strange bit there is, when the primitive humans start running, and they kind of stand there for a second and they look, and then they just like kind of run as well, as opposed to, well, let's go the other way or let's hide, or they just kind of got spooked and followed suit, which in some ways I guess it's like, well, they're native to here and they know there's a danger, so let's get the hell out of here. But obviously
but the smart thing to do is, I mean, if the last thing you want to do is run away, like, oh, there's noise over here or something, let's run the opposite way. I mean, that's the trap, right? Like,
right.
Of course,
Yeah, and
I figured they should I figured the three of them would be like, they'd stop for a second and go, wait a second, before we start running out with these primitives wherever they go, let's maybe assess the situation and figure out, maybe there's a trap, maybe something's going on, right?
Right. And we actually see the apes are clearly systematically rounding them up, and like they're going through and trying to herd them into certain places where they can be captured or killed and such.
Yeah, shooting some of them, but
right,
capturing the rest.
And again, as a little kid, I didn't understand what this was all about. It's like, what are they doing to them, and why? It's like, well, we find out later, they're wrecking their crops. Such these are the apes' crops.
Yeah.
Here, and the humans just raid them like vermin, and so they're just clearing them out essentially, because it was shocking to me as a little kid, and still a little bit. It's like, wow, this seems awfully brutal. But then of course this is all part of the contrast too, the same way humans would treat wild boars or something that are wrecking crops. I mean, we wouldn't have a second thought about it, and that's of course what was intended.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sorry, did you want to go any more with the summary? And then I think we caught up to that part of your initial summary.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So they, you want to take the summarize the next little bit, or?
Sure. So again, the hunt goes on for a bit of time, in which you mentioned that Dodge was shot and killed.
Yeah.
Which Taylor witnessed.
And checks him out and makes sure he's dead. So.
Right. And Landon got separated in this, and we kind of see some details of Taylor evading, maybe by luck, maybe by a little, a higher intelligence, like the apes were coming at him with a
the net.
Right with the net, and he went like by a felled tree or something, or a stump or something, which caught the net, and he was able to keep going. And so he got away for a while, but then eventually they kind of fell off of a little cliff into like a pond or something, and I think he got shot there. And
he's shot and he falls
got
off,
clipped, I guess. So he got wounded in his neck,
which is important,
right? And then so he goes out at that point, bleeding, in the water, and so they're dragging him away. Now they then go to a pretty, again for an 8-year-old, pretty harsh scene with dead humans hung, like game animals.
Yeah.
And they are
some of them piled in a big pile of corpses.
Yeah, and other ones they're hauling away that's clearly still alive. Like there's one of the gorillas these are, and all we see are gorillas here, by the way. There's we'll find out there's different types of apes portrayed here.
Yeah, I think this is a key. This is a key point to the movie right here. That's kind of like for the audience, like a sort of somewhat shocking or surprising thing. But anyway, go ahead. I'll mention it if you don't. I think you probably will. But.
Okay. And so, and they show like a little kid, one of the gorillas is carrying like a little kid, who is alive, and, but they're taking him off. So then they're loading up the surviving humans, and you see him, loading, Taylor, into a cart essentially, and
Did,
then they go
yeah.
off.
Did you notice that the kid was kind of like the ape was carrying the kid, and the kid was pretty calm about it until he
Right.
brought him into the, and then the kid's like, "Oh, damn!" and he starts to
Yeah,
fight.
yeah, start right,
I
kicking
thought that
and stuff.
was well done. I thought that, I mean, I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but I thought it was a nice little, a nice little addition if they did it on purpose. I thought it
Yeah.
was.
Oh, and the other thing is, this is the first. Then they have a scene where they're like taking a photograph,
Yes,
with them,
this is what I'm talking about.
and it's the first time you see the apes talk. I think, right?
Yeah, and that's I think that's the big, I mean, the apes arriving is a bit of a scene, like when we find out, hey, look, oh, these are apes. But I think, when you see the Planet of the Apes, you're kind of like, okay, there's going to be some apes in them, right? But when when the apes sit there and they go, they go to take a picture, and the one ape says, say cheese, or he says smile, and everyone goes, hey, cheese, or whatever they do. Like they speak English. You're like, whoa, wait a second. Oh, like I think that is a big, a shock that's kept in the movie that is kind of shocking.
Right. And well, it doesn't make any sense at all, right? I mean, if you were thinking about it objectively, it's like, wait a minute, I'm on a different planet and there's apes that talk and they speak English. That whole thing doesn't make any sense.
That's giving you a hint right
well,
there.
Yes and no, because I mean, how many stories are there in things where it's just like, yeah, they understand each other and they just kind of wave their arms or don't mention it at all. It just kind of happens. So again, can I say as a little kid that I gave it a second thought? No. Who was smarter, 8-year-old me or the average viewing audience of 1968? I don't know. Probably them. But I doubt anybody was phased by that.
You don't
But
think so? No.
Well, I mean, now if we're analyzing it, it doesn't. I mean, literally, is there any justification why that would be possible? I mean, I guess you could say in an infinite universe, something like that could happen, but the odds of it would be infinitesimal.
Yeah. No, I agree, but I think that maybe it's telling us something, but we don't know. Maybe not.
Well, okay, so it obviously we aren't going to have any spoilers here, but so okay, so then they basically they go off, and then we see them in Ape City, where which is extremely primitive. I should note, the technology. I mean, they had firearms and they had cameras, but the technology level here is medieval at best. I mean, they have books and things and
like scroll type stuff,
right?
Yeah, and also,
but no apparent electricity or I guess they do have running water of a sort because we see them using hoses.
well, that's true. That is true.
But there are no
that's
motor
unusual.
vehicles.
How would they get the pressure for those hoses? That's a
Well,
little bit
that could just be by elevation. You could just have a water tower essentially. But
that much pressure.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot.
No, maybe.
But they have some sort of water system at least. But that's about it. I mean, it's pre-industrial technology level.
Yeah, I mean, I know I know why they speak. Yeah, Conquest, the later ones explains why they speak English, but at this point, we think that this is a separate planet, right? If it's Earth, it's obvious. It's obvious later why they speak English, but I think that's why I'm saying that I think that's a bit of a hint when they speak English. But anyway,
so now it's basically we see Taylor kind of in this state of shock, just watching what's going on here because it's obviously surreal that you have these apes and so he's in a zoo facility essentially or a lab facility where you have there's a doctor working on him again because he was wounded. Yeah, basically, he was wounded, in his neck. So he, someone is working on him. The character's name is Galen, and then you were introduced to Dr. Zira, who is a female chimpanzee. Now, this is we also see, the different. Now we're introduced to the chimpanzees, so who appear to be like the intellectual class, right? They're doctors, scientists, things like that. And then you have, the gorillas are military, police, blue collar workers. What was the the guard's name?
Julius,
yeah. The guard who, the gorilla guard, who's basically, runs the, the cages, who has some, ironic lines, I guess.
Yeah.
And so this is sometime, Taylor's in a cage at this point, and it's sometime later. So Zira has interacted or observed him a little bit over some period of time, relatively short period of time, presumably. And she notices that, again, he has his throat bandaged up and everything, but he's mouthing words like he's trying to talk. And she's like, well, he's trying to talk. And Cornelius, or not Cornelius, Julius says, yeah, human see, human do, right? So
yeah.
It's one of, there's a number of these.
We'll go over them as they come up. There's some great,
these kind of cheesy,
it's a good one.
Reversals, right? Monkey see, monkey do. And so he's just like, the humans don't talk. What are you talking about? But they also, I think they mentioned something at this point about, them having strange clothes. Because they did have,
which ones came in with the strange clothes,
right? And
Zira says that,
right? And so Zira is she figures out there's something up here, there's something strange going on here, so she's very interested, and she's a animal psychologist, I guess is her profession, so she's interested in animal behavior, or in this case animals being humans, and it kind of there's, like I said, there's this familiarization of that, and she's trying to learn more about him, and he's clearly doing this. He tries to get, she has a notepad, in her smock or whatever, and he tries to grab it the first time or whatever, and Julius is like smacking him with, getting him off the cage or whatever. And we want to stop here, or where do we want to?
No, you can. I just want to mention, just a couple of the chats. I'll just orangutans are politicians. They are like, I think they have they have a little bit of scientific, in that area, but they seem to be the administrators, politicians, religious leaders. Because Dr. Zayas, I mean, he is the the head of, I think he has a science background in order to, but they are more the political and religious class,
right?
For sure, yeah. I think we can keep going. I mean, you're covering it well. This is, this whole time he's attempting to, Taylor's trying to get them to, recognize who he is. Do you want to talk about the scene in the Dr. Sayas comes in and actually, while this first part's going on there in the, he comes in and Zira says, this is one here. Come look at this man. He seems to be trying to talk. Mm-hmm. And that's where we meet Dr. Zayas, and he is very skeptical about that.
Right. Yeah, and we get a little bit of a hint that maybe he knows something, because there is more to it, but he's hiding it. And this continue, this kind of goes on for a little bit, and there's another scene where they're outside in a
the cage outside,
right, and so but we should mention that by this time Zira has brought one of the other captured females, Nova, as she becomes known as, and gives her as a gift, to Taylor, basically, I think, looking for them to be mating, and
Lucky
so
Taylor.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The Nova, played by a very attractive actress.
Linderson, yeah. She's
right.
Quite,
So anyway, so they have the same cage. And so then in this case, they're outside with some of the other humans in kind of a large common cage, and they're walking around. And Taylor's like trying to write in the dirt, so he's writing words. Yeah, I didn't quite catch what it said.
I didn't catch it either. I couldn't catch it.
But
Yeah, good evening, madman.
he
Yeah,
was
I didn't know what he said. I tried reading it, but I mean, it doesn't matter because they.
Right, and so and he's trying to show her, and Dr. Zaya shows up again, here and talking to them, and he's and like Nova kind of like messes with it at first or something, and then and one of the other primitive males is like gets in the way or something, and then so he starts getting into a fight with this other guy, so Taylor and this other guy. And at first, the primitive kind of whacks him, and then Taylor starts to use his, modern combat training kind of thing, and is, owning the guy. But then, the gorillas come in and, grab him, they, put a man catcher on him essentially, or, like
and they scare them with fire. I like that. They have a torch.
Yeah, they have a torch.
They're waving it around, and everybody's running like, fire.
Right. So then Zero tells him to take him back inside. And then so they do, and they go back in there, and Dr. Zayas then sees the writing and kind of sticks his cane through there and like, erases what's left of it.
Yeah. And so that's now your first obvious hint that he knows something's up.
Right.
And he's not that surprised. He doesn't, go, hey, whoa. I mean, he's, when he first meets him, he's very skeptical and tries to put down anything that she says. Oh, he looks like he's, no, they can't. But this is like obvious. He's like, he knows something.
Right. So, and off screen, we're, Taylor is, they're in the cage or whatever. And, someone comes in and says, hey, take him out of here, and he's gonna be gelded, so they're gonna, neuter him essentially. And then he escapes, and this is where the big chase scene happens. Or am I skipping anything here?
I think you're skipping a little bit. First of all, she takes him. She's like, hey, he can do something, no, sorry. This is another scene where he tries
I skipped a ton. You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. She tries to, he grabs her and he's able to get the pad of paper off. He writes down, my name is Taylor. Julius goes in there and beats him up a little bit and brings the thing back to her. And she says, my name is Taylor. And she goes, put a leash on this one and take him to my quarters. And that's where he gets the big chance to, he's writing all the stuff. He's telling her everything of what's going on by writing it.
Yeah. And we had earlier seen a brief scene with Cornelius, which is Zira's fiance.
Right.
Another scientist. He's a anthropologist or archaeologist.
Yeah.
And so they have this whole scene with the three of them in private, basically, right, where, he still can't talk, but he's writing down. Apparently they read English as well.
Yeah.
And he's writing, extensively, and sorry, do you want to take it from there? Or
Yeah. I mean, you're covering it. He's telling them that he's, from another planet. We're getting a lot of exposition where now Zira is kind of on Taylor's side and believes, and Cornelius, her fiance, is the
skeptic.
Skeptic, yeah, and he's saying that's crazy. He asked for, do you have a map? Shows a map. We're here. Here's where we found you here. Suggesting as to what's going on. We find out a little bit more about the Forbidden Zone because Cornelius has been there with his archaeology, anthropology studies, that kind of stuff.
Right.
We also there's also some information about, she says, oh, well, we should go, we need to go to the council and this and that. And Cornelius is like, what, you want to get my head chopped off? We find out that there is the apes have some sort of, fairly religious, fairly strict laws about certain things. And, you might not want to push against those too hard. You might find things bad for yourself.
Right. And it's very strange because clearly Cornelius, we find out, has seen various things. And I mean, this isn't like he, Taylor accidentally made a geometric shape or something, or a letter or whatever. He's explaining complex ideas to them and such, and clearly could show a knowledge of mathematics or whatever he had to, and but what you said is right. It's like Zira is just like, well, I just believe it because I believe it, and Cornelius is like, I don't believe it because I'm a skeptic. It's like there's I don't think they meant to portray it this way, but it's like there's isn't really any rational measurement going on of what this is. It's like, I mean, clearly he's using language. He's he's expressing all these things. The only thing you can come to is that this is he has intelligence.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well, the paper airplane.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing he demonstrates. Because he's saying, apes can't fly or something. He says,
if flying is impossible.
Right. Exactly. So again, bearing in mind so this is showing that they're actually very primitive compared to modern humans, modern us humans.
Yeah. I see them at sort of a 15th century or before. Like they haven't quite, they're sort of in an enlightenment era in the sense that they're starting to go with science, but they still don't. I mean, it's obvious that this guy, has, but no, he says he's from, that could never happen. Well, wouldn't you as a scientist open your mind and say, okay, well, maybe it can happen? Like they seem very, it's a mix between, we're into science, we're kind of getting into this, the apes are, but yet we still have this very strong religious dogma and these laws that prevent us from thinking this way, or we're afraid, for various whatever reasons. So it's kind of a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of conflict there.
Now here's an interesting to me thought is maybe they don't have the scientific method. It's like they're doing these things that are kind of scientific, but they it's like, oh, we study it, pre-scientific method kind of study.
That's a good point.
That's more in the range of philosophy, and so that's why it's not occurring to them. I don't think they. I
kind of think, yeah, I think that's a reasonable point, but I think it's kind of, I think it's more about they're trying to show that even though they have some sort of scientific method, I think they're suggesting that maybe apes are a little less rebellious than humans are, in the sense that there's this pull between the the laws and the religious. And the religion and laws that have been put down by the higher levels. Now we understand that later on in the show we find Zeus knows everything, and he knows that man has destroyed this world, and so there is a reason for the leadership of the apes to say, hey, we're not going down these certain roads. Man is dangerous. We don't want to be like him because of what he did. And so that might be more strongly enforced than it would be in our own society. I think I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying that's another theory as to why the apes might be like this.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what's motivating Dr. Zaius. But I'd like to mention that at this point, and we'll see more details there. Well, maybe it's coming next, but the point is this movie has a lot of fairly heavy-handed commentary on humanity or historical thing. Again, it's paralleling these things. It's like it's taking a shot at like, oh, these religious types, they're enemies of science kind of thing. There's a lot of that, which was, I'm sure, very popular at the time, still had been around since maybe the 1800s where that became popularized, and still to this day that's a whole thing, but it relies very heavily on that. But I'm mentioning that in contrast to what you were saying is it's really not that. Dr. Zaius actually has ulterior motives that he's genuinely concerned about. It's not just, oh, I'm a religious zealot and how dare you, kind of thing. Other not chimpanzees, orangutans are portrayed as having that mindset, though.
Yeah. I mean, part of watching this movie, I've seen all the other ones, so it's kind of like I'm a little bit affected when they're talking about later on in other movies, ape must not kill ape,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. So it seems that they are very much, the society which Zaius represents is really, really takes the knowledge of what humans have done, and that what we're going to see in the later movies. That's very strongly affected him and the ruling class, and
Mhm.
that's why they're sort of very oppressive with these two chimpanzees who represent sort of a new, Zira and Cornelius represent sort of a new breed of scientists that are sort of coming up and are really pushing the boundaries of science and questioning the worldview. So it might be that whole old guard versus the new guard thing as well, a little bit. And, yeah. Sorry,
So,
just, I don't know if
uh,
you agree with that or not.
uh, n- no, I think that's all valid. So, okay, so now they get into, they have this whole thing, and then they
Yeah,
have him.
let me finish off so then Zaius or they come to just to end up that scene. We get a lot of stuff what's going on. Then they come and say, "Hey, you're not supposed to have these dirty humans in your in your house. They're supposed to be back in the zoo." And they pull them back, and that's when I think they decide to geld them. That's when he comes up, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, go.
So, and then this is where, um, they have the big escape scene, where they're coming to get him, and or actually they take Nova out of there first. I think they kind of drag her out of
Right.
there, and they're hose. This is where they're putting the fire hose on him. I think Julius is.
I thought that was a great scene.
Yeah. What'd you like about it?
Because he Julius reverts to ape-like behavior, right? He
Right.
starts
Yeah.
like
He's like,
jumping up and down, and going hoo hoo hoo, right? Like it's kind of like he's an intelligent, but he pulls back, like he's having fun. He's like really putting it to Taylor because he hates him. He's mad at him, and he's really getting into it, and he sort of reverts back to his old, you know, his instinctual behavior. I don't know if you got the same thing out of that or not.
yes, it was. I'm not sure exactly what they were trying to portray there, but it was. Yeah, it was. Again, it was kind of surreal. It's this weird uh, contrast between this supposedly intelligent thing and then like you said, reverting back. Um, but also the gorillas are not as intellectual as the chimpanzees, let's say. Um,
Yeah, or the rank things.
right. So they do this, and then they're trying to get him out of there, and then he busts loose and takes off. And
Yeah,
then we've got this fairly long chase scene, where he's trying to escape. Again, he doesn't even know where he's going,
yeah.
and so he runs around, he goes to, like, there's like a religious service going on where, like, a little
Somebody, yeah, some gorilla
chimpanzee,
died. Yeah.
but a little chimpanzee kid, like, says, "Look, a human." It's like, you know, um, rats him out, and then so he's running, and he's knocking around some of these apes. So they don't appear to be particularly stronger than humans,
Yeah,
per se. Whereas a gorilla is much stronger than a human in
yeah,
today's world, but
yeah,
obviously they're evolved, so maybe that's gone. But
yeah.
and so long scene. He ends up in a museum where he finds uh, Dodge's corpse.
We find the disposition of Dodge.
Right.
Um,
Even though he knew he was dead, it's basically, again, this kind of shocking thing where they're
yeah,
stuffing humans like we stuff animals.
yeah,
Um, and so chasing goes on. Like I said, there's fighting going on. They're whipping him and trying to grab him with sticks, and he's running up and down all this this primitive kind. The city is like made of mostly stone, or
it looks like maybe clay that's been shaped,
yeah, right. It is shaped
hardened and shaped, and
right.
anyway,
And so eventually they capture him, in a net, and they were like above like on a walkway or something, and these gorillas like jump down, and and then he gets pulled up into this net, and then they come, Zira is there, and she's trying to get them to not hurt him or whatever, and they're grabbing him, and this is where he gives his damn dirty ape famous line.
Yes,
get your
stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yes. And so and then everyone's shocked by that. It's like, oh, and Zira's just amazed, because basically her she's been proven right.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, this is a whole thing now, and they get they're going to have a trial, essentially a hearing, I should say, because they need, now the orangutans are like, there's
we got to deal with this now. We can't sweep it under the rug.
Right.
And I'll note that when Taylor sees them, it's a couple weeks have gone by, right?
Is it?
Yeah, he says to them, "Where when they?"
Oh, that's right. He hasn't seen him.
Room. He goes, "Where have you been? It's been weeks."
Well, that's interesting that Zaius would have let him get away. He wouldn't have just orchestrated his demise in there.
Yeah, and I think that's important, because the apes are trying to follow. They're portrayed not as sneaky as we are, or underhanded. They're still trying to follow some sort of set rules. Now that, we kind of get a little pushback of that later on with the nephew who makes some comments. Part of that's the 60s.
Well,
but
Zaius is sneaky. He will do things behind the scenes, but maybe the other ones
not as much. Like, why not just knife Taylor while he's sleeping and problem solved?
Well,
dump his body somewhere, right? Like,
in this case, now the secret's kind of out, so he, at the beginning, he was the only one that really knew about it besides Zira, and he was trying to keep it under wraps. Well, now it's not under wraps anymore. So maybe it was like, okay, this is going to happen. And so this is where you have this hearing where you've got, Zaius and these two other orangutans. And then,
my point though, is he could have still done that, but he didn't. Like, they're trying to follow some sort of rule system that they've got set up.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, he could have, there's lots of human leaders who would be like, all right, just grab the guy and, stab him and get rid of him. Right. Like, various, I'm thinking they're trying to show that the apes are not quite as bad as we can be. Maybe, I don't know. You can disagree if you want, but that was my impression. But
okay, I think that's viable theory. I didn't necessarily get that, but you might be right. So this hearing scene is somewhat lengthy, and it's kind of getting, again, this is where we see a lot of this kind of commentary come through, where the guy the orangutan who's acting as a prosecutor basically is kind of like a political religious figure, and questioning on that basis without regard to reason. It's like, for example, he's questioning Taylor at some point about, well, what's the second whatever, ape law or something. He's like, and Taylor's like, I don't know. I have no idea about your society. And he's like, see, look, he's a moron, or whatever. It's like, he's ignorant. He's not really intelligent. It's that kind of thing that's going on.
So they're demonstrating that they're somewhat, they're not, they're a little bit stuck in their religion / cultural bubble, right? They don't understand, or, who would say, oh, you've come to my culture, you don't know anything about my culture, you're obviously stupid, right? Like, that doesn't make much sense,
right?
But the idea, well, these things are weird, that our religion, our culture is self-evident, so if you were really intelligent, you would know it, which doesn't really make sense to us, right? Like, that's kind of seems a very primitive way of looking at it. So, my suggestion is that the apes are not as culturally advanced as humans were, where Taylor came from.
Well,
I think, but
yeah, well, think about this. well, we later find out, that, this is about 2,000 years in the future, right? And it's like, so these apes went from being complete animal intelligence to, advanced intelligence in 2,000 years, which is exceedingly short amount of time, right? I
Right.
mean, so, um, I guess you could, that wouldn't be surprising, that they don't have these higher societal, that their society is actually relatively primitive and simplistic. These, we hear about the lawgiver and all this stuff and everything, which happened 1,200 years in the past of when this is taking place. So and they're actually so they're really a rather young society, in terms of things. I mean, obviously, I'm not talking like the United States or Canada or something, but let's say Western society, that goes back
Yeah.
to ancient Greece at least, or that kind of thing. So, which is thousands of years. In any case, so they there's this presiding officer who's in kind of the neutral guy, and then Zaius is the other one, and so at one point, the guy, it's like he's they're kind of very dismissive of, it's like, shut him up, put a muzzle on him, kind of thing. So they don't recognize him having any rights of any kind, he's clearly just an animal to them.
But they
even
know he's not. They know he's not because.
Well, see, that's the thing. There's this kind of this disconnect, where it's like he's talking and he's there. He does talk, and then before they muzzle him or whatever, and it's like, but they're just in complete denial of it. It's like, even though they're witnessing proof right in front of their face, they're just denying it. I mean, I'm sure you saw the scene at one point. The three of them are there doing the, speak no evil, see no evil, hear no evil.
Yes,
pose.
And I think that was purposely put in there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
To show. I mean, it's a good, it's because it's monkeys that do it, but it also reflects completely that they're just missing. I mean, he's speaking to them, and they quiet that animal. I mean, he just spoke. I'll defend myself.
Mm-hmm.
Zero brings up some points. Well, why are we having this trial if he's not? If he's just an animal, you don't try. I don't try if my dog bites somebody, he doesn't go to jail. I don't try him, right?
Right. And during the trial, there's also this overtone. I mean, Zira and Cornelius are here, but it's basically like, it's not like you're free to really speak and they're not looking for the truth here, and it's like, there's this heavy hand on them. It's like, you better watch what you say, It's
a bit of a kangaroo court.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. But at one,
even, oh, sorry, maybe you're going to say the same thing I was going to mention. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say at one point the president, because Taylor mentions about, the other three the other two that he was with, and this is when they're like, okay, well, we gathered together the other captured humans, let's go see them, So that was like one of the kind of open-minded things where the guy's like, well, fine, let's go take a look,
Yeah. I want to mention something before that, though.
Okay.
Just before that, they're talking, and Zaius says to the president, he says, "Let them speak, Mr. President. They're gonna, president. They're gonna, they're gonna hang themselves in a sense." So now it seems to me that he's trying to protect them a little bit, and protect society, but also protect them, Cornelius and Zira. But now he's kind of changed his tune, and he's like gonna put them into the fire, like, let them talk. Then we can convict them of heresy or something, and then But go ahead. I wanted to mention that, but they go and they go to see, they investigate.
Yeah. So they do go out there, and Taylor spots Landon, and says that's him, but Landon doesn't, really react, and then the guy's like, well, go over to him, and so he goes over there, kind of pushes through the other primitives, and he's like, Landon, and he's like, okay, so then you see he's had his head cut out, he's got his head shaved and partially shaved, and a big scar where they basically cut his brain open, and so Taylor loses it and goes to attack him. He's like, you gotta cut him up, and because he's no longer able to function with any higher reasoning.
And we don't know if Zaius did that on purpose, but we kind of suspect, right?
Yeah, I think they said, "Oh, we had to do that to save him," or something. They make some kind of excuse about it, I think.
Yeah. Sure.
And I think Taylor's like, challenges Zira. He's like, "Did you know about this?" And he's like, because she's like, "No, I didn't know anything about this." Because we do find at some point that she's dissected, she dissects humans, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
the brain specifically,
right, because she's trying to learn about them, as
probably
humans.
alive, and pokes it and sees, hey,
Yeah,
let's poke him here, see what happens. Oh, he moved his arm, whatever, right? Like,
right. So, uh, so then they, basically come back to, essentially it's like, nope, this, the decision was preordained. It's like, no, he's, we don't know exactly what he is, but they don't believe his story. But
or they do believe it, which is the problem.
well, Zaius probably does. The other two, I don't think are. Zaius is not sharing everything with them either. I don't think. At least that's the
Yeah,
impression I get.
I mean, I don't know about you tell me, but I assume that I mean, Zira obviously didn't know about Landon, but I bet Zaius did, and he found out about and all. There's another, this one came in with these weird clothes, sort of this one, and he's behind the scenes. He's investigated and decided to take care of the problem with some brain surgery. I don't know if you agree or not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just derailed the whole conversation.
No, that's fine.
I didn't mean to.
Okay. So basically, there it's like, yeah, we're gonna, they don't believe him, or they're not gonna go with anything he's saying. But then they have this scene with where Zaius basically has Taylor brought to him to have a private discussion.
Yeah, that's an important scene.
What you want to go run with
No,
that?
go ahead.
So basically, Zaius is rather candid in this, where he's kind of spilling the beans a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, he tries to cajole Taylor into, basically saying, what exactly did he want him to say? It was kind of renouncing, his story.
Yeah, he wants to. Yeah, and well, tell us where your tribe is. He says.
Oh, right, yeah, because it's like he fears that there is a tribe of of intelligent humans, that are a threat to them, essentially.
Which there are.
Right. Well, yeah. On the other side of the Forbidden Zone is, his thought, because, they don't go over there. But so that's what he's really worried about. And Taylor's like, I don't know. He's like, I can't tell you. It's so it's basically he doesn't. He couldn't tell him if he wanted to. I guess he could have lied.
Yeah, I wonder about that. Why not just lie? Oh yeah, they're over there. Pick some spot, but
yeah,
whatever, he doesn't. But
right, so
Taylor seems to still cling on to this idea that if I just tell them enough, they'll believe me eventually. But I mean, it's obvious to us, I think, that Zaius doesn't care, and he seems to be threatened by humans for some reason.
Mm-hmm. So then we get around to the breakout, right?
Yeah.
You want to go with that?
The nephew of Zira breaks him out. They tie up poor Julius, gets bonked on the head, and they basically escape. He brings Nova with him, and they meet up somewhere outside of Ape City. And Cornelius is they sneak out in a wagon, and they eventually meet up with Cornelius, and he's got 3 horses and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. I thought that was. I mean, it's very, very quick, but I thought the things that happen after that is quite interesting. Where first of all, Taylor, they've still got him in the cage. They still see him as an animal, sort of, right? They don't. It's hard for them to, it doesn't quite click for them. But he's like pissed. He's like, "Hey, open this!" When Cornelius shows up, it's obvious that the ruse is over, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to keep this ruse going on anymore. He's like, "Hey, open this up! Let me out of here!" Right? They're like, "Oh, okay." They let him out, and then he says, "You want to? If you want to?"
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And then he's like, you have any? What do you got? You got any guns? He goes, yeah, we got some. And
We
he's
won't
like,
need them.
good. Yeah, but we won't need them. He goes, I don't care. I want one. I want one anyway. Good for
Yeah.
you. I'm not going to be captured again.
Right.
I think that's pretty, telling about Taylor. And Cornelius says, I'm in charge. He's like, good for you. You can you be in charge. I'm going to do what I want, sort of thing, right? Which, I mean, I don't blame Taylor for. I mean, I think it's a very human thing to do, but also I don't blame him from what he's been through, right? Like, they've tried to help him and do things for him, and he's appreciative of it, but he knows that they cannot do everything. So he's got to look after himself. I thought that was an interesting concept between, sort of like, that's a very human way of thinking, but then, the apes are kind of contrasted a little bit with that. I don't know if you agree with that. Is that I felt that way.
Well, okay, the chimpanzees seem to be rather pacifist, right? It's again, to me that was a little bit about Cornelius is like, yeah, we have guns, but what are we going to do with them? It's like, but yeah, it was definitely showing Taylor as being, yeah, I'm taking charge of this, and I'm not I'm not trusting this to anyone else.
Which he does for the rest of the movie, I would say.
Right.
He takes charge of himself.
Right.
So they start towards the forbidden zone. Well, there's a discussion about where they're going to go. And Taylor just they said, well, the forbidden zone's this way. My dig site was this way. And he decides to go with them as well. I think he just, he wants to learn a little bit more about society or something. Is he still clinging on to this idea maybe they can convince people? I'm not sure. What did you think about that? Did you think that's what was going on? Or
I'm sorry, you said about Cornelius's?
To Cornelius's dig site,
well,
right? Like Taylor decides to go.
Clearly, Cornelius found something that he knew. I mean, he was basically like, he shut himself up. He was intimidated into stopping. And he talked about this a little bit earlier. It's like, oh, my theory, whatever. And it was like, you better just shut up about that, and he kind of capitulated to it. And, it's like he was still trying to do things within the rules, but wasn't able to. So at this point, it does kind of take over. It's like now he's like sees the chance. It's like, well, there is something to this. And he might start to be putting these things together because he knows more than the rest of them do about what he's found. So and again at this point everybody's it's like Taylor's trying to convince them that he came from another planet and da 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 da. So they they travel out to the to where the dig site is, and then that's where they have this other kind of long exchange because they basically Zaius obviously knew about this because they track him down.
Yep.
And come out here and find him. And this is another thing that kind of confused me. It's like, well, they kind of just said, well, okay, let's just all go in there and have this discussion. It's like it was rather friendly.
Yeah.
And
I think that I mean, there's a couple of things. To me, that's kind of showing that the apes are like humans we would stab the guy in the back, like oh yeah sure, go in there, and as soon as the guy went in there, we the apes would come down and immediately attack and sneak around and stuff, which they kind of do, but it takes them a lot longer. But there's a little bit more of Zaius says do this or do that, and people do it. They don't try to they kind of take him at his word usually.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to show that the apes
kind
are
of
less
obedient.
They're less deceptive than we are. They can be deceptive, but they're not generally towards that. Like there's no way let's say there was all humans in this part of the movie. There's no way you would go if you were Taylor. Oh yeah, let's go into this cave where we can there's only one way out, and it's we could be we could easily be kept in there, and then while leaving all these other 10 or so soldiers out there. I mean, you wouldn't do that. I mean, I don't think any human would do that normally, right? Like you wouldn't trust them, would you?
Yeah, you see, you seem to be reading things into it as making commentary about the apes, and you might be right. But to me, it just seems like it was kind of like, again, a little bit of arm waving and just because again, Taylor
Oh,
doesn't
really?
even recognize it as weird. It's like, why wouldn't he be like, what are you doing? It's like, why are, you know, um, you know what I'm saying? It's like no one
Yeah.
in the scene played it as if it was strange.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe I am reading too much into it. My assumption is that Taylor has been around long enough to know that Zaius has power, and if I've got him in there and I've got him essentially as a hostage, the other apes are not going to do anything. They're tend toward obedience, and Zaius has enough power that whatever he says, the gorillas will do for whatever reason. So he feels himself a little safer. But I mean, I could be reading into it. Maybe it's poor writing, and I'm just
Well,
going
what I
finding a reason to think it's okay.
kind of a related take on that is, that when they are in the cave and doing this, Cornelius is just kind of like, oh, I'm just going to show you this evidence. It's like, it seems like he has an expectation that it's like, well, if I just show them this evidence and we go through it, we'll come to a reasonable conclusion, so and I'm saying that's a little bit similar because it's like there seems to be this kind of trust of authority there that it'll work out fine. And later on when Zira's kind of like, oh no, they can't, we have the evidence now, they can't convict us of heresy. It's like, we're charging you with heresy. It's like, it's like, well, that, so Zaius is the one that's,
how'd that work out for you?
Right. He's the deceptive one, I mean, or the one that's kind of breaking what the expectations would be that you're talking about. And like I just mentioned,
but they all have those expectations,
right?
And he doesn't break them until the very end, where he kind of says, all right, I've got no choice now. I'm going to blow up this cave and you guys are going down for heresy because I can't. I tried everything. I tried to stop you. I told you to shut up. I tried to, kill this animal, and you still, I tried to kill the human, and you still let him escape. And he doesn't say this, but I mean, that's, what I read into his actions. He's like, this has gotten too big. I can't control it anymore with the usual ways. I've got to lie.
Here's the other thing, though, is Zaius could have just as easily said, kill him and leave him in the cave, meaning the Cornelius and Zira. But it was like,
but Ape cannot.
Well,
Ape cannot kill. I mean, we know this yet, but Ape cannot kill Ape. Like he's still stuck in his. He can't. Plus, I don't think he wants to do that because remember his final. I mean, I'm jumping a little bit, but remember he's got his he's tied up to the tree and he'll read this scroll or whatever, and it's an indictment about humans. Mm-hmm. And you notice that Taylor doesn't disagree with what he says.
Right. It comes back around to that because Taylor, again, from the beginning, is a misanthrope. He's extremely disappointed with humanity.
Yeah, disillusioned.
And that's kind of we didn't really touch on this theme, but I mean, it's like Taylor goes from that to being like the champion of humanity, essentially. Speaking on behalf of it against this enemy.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
but not disagreeing that we are
right. Yeah, exactly. He can't really disagree with it when it comes down to it. It's like,
yes, I am like that.
Right. And throughout. So, okay. So
but the part of the thing is though, is that, I mean, I think, you're right. Zaius could say, yeah, just kill them and put them, but he's still like, he sees that as non-ape behavior. That's what humans do. So he can't, bring himself to go that far. He only can go as far as, he can't be human-like. He's still an ape, and he wouldn't go as far as a human would, but he has to go this far. I mean, was my read of it, but
yeah,
I don't know if you agree or not.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
So that's why he doesn't, just shoot Zira and leave them in there. And I don't think the other gorillas would, the gorillas wouldn't go for it, right? Because Ape must not kill Ape. They'd be like, wow. And even the Junior there, the nephew, his name escapes me for a second here.
Lucius.
Lucius, yeah. He mentions it. hey, we can't trust the old. Now, part of that is the '60s crap that's going in there, right? The whole don't trust anyone over 30, but it's also, I think, showing the old versus, he complains that we had a deal, you guys were going to go off, and they snuck up on me afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
The sneaky gorillas.
Well, he's also like the don't trust anyone over 30, kind of thing. Taylor says that to Lucius, which of course is a hippie kind of thing, right?
But it's also the fact that yes, but he honestly believed that the gorillas wouldn't sneak up on them. Like, we had a deal, they're going to go in there, you guys are going to leave us alone, and they snuck up on me. He's like, seems to be generally hurt that they would do this when they, when it was agreed that they wouldn't. So I think that's that's sort of saying something about their society, that they're generally, the apes are, more honest than we would be. Like, you would never, in that situation, if you were Lucius, you wouldn't, assume that, oh no, they're never going to come back, because that would be dishonorable, right? Like, you would never think that. Humans wouldn't, but he does. So that, I think it says something about their society, that they're really, like I said, less deceptive than we are. But
yeah,
I don't know. Agree or disagree?
Well, I'm not seeing it as strongly as you do, but I will agree that there are indications of these things where they're kind of, it's like they're not thinking in those terms. Again, with the exception of Zayas.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem to be like their natural predilection.
Yeah. I'm just going to look at Michael's question. A question about the Forbidden Zone. Humans may more likely made. I believe the Wasteland was made by nuclear war. Yeah, I mean, I think we find that. We find that out later. Who put up the scarecrows? I think it's the humans that put them up, or I'm not sure. I don't remember. But if you remember, in the next movie, the humans are mutants and they have mental powers to show you things like fire and that kind of thing. So I'm not sure if the so anyone going into the Forbidden Zone, any apes going into the Forbidden Zone, they would be, disinclined to do that because they'd see walls of fire, the ground opening up and trying to swallow them, that kind of thing. So they either, I would assume the apes would put them up and say, hey, don't go past here, because this is where all the, the walls of fire and these terrible things happen. But it's not obvious in this movie. Do you have any comments on that, Cam?
No.
No? Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so
we're almost finished off here.
Yeah. They basically they, Zayas is, says, he's gonna blow the thing up or whatever, and then they have this thing where they get into this fight with, the gorillas were, ready to shoot them. And so there's this shootout where Taylor's shooting at them and everything. And then Zayas is in the cave still. And then he lures him out, essentially pretending to be wounded, and then captures him and holds him hostage, in which, then has them send off, and, he says, get me horse or whatever. So, basically Taylor's like, we're just getting out of here. Me and Nova and I are going to leave, and, just don't follow us, kind of thing. And that's, so then they have this other interaction, where, Zayas is like, oh yeah, violent humans. That's, what else would we expect, but it's kind of at this point, it's like, fine, just go, what, you're not going to like what you find. Kind of thing. So he knows
the truth.
Right. And he seems resigned to the fact that it's not worth pursuing him, at that point, because the gorillas do start, after he gets released, they do kind of start after him. He says, nope, let him go, so he's kind of washed his hands of it at this point. And then this is where we go to.
And you assume that they could take him out fairly easily, though the gorillas have not proved to be very good shots.
True.
To be a better shot than them, even though, they have these guns and they supposedly, know how to use them. But
Right. Apparently they got a lot of rounds in them, though. They shoot quite a bit, and not having any particularly large magazine that you can notice. But anyway,
magazine
so
of infinite bullets.
Right. No reloading. I don't think there's any reloading scenes. Yeah. So, and this is where he's like, yeah, we're still charging you with heresy. It's like, oh, okay, great. And so then we have the big final scene here where Taylor and Nova are heading up the shoreline. You want to take this one, or?
Yeah, it's pretty basic. They hit up the shoreline. They, they go up. Taylor sees something. He has this classic line here, which I wrote down here. He falls to the ground. He says, "You maniacs! You blew it up! Ah, damn you! God damn you all to hell!" And then we cut, and we see, of course, a piece of the Statue of Liberty, the top half of it, which, I doubt that it's what are the chances that the Statue of Liberty be on two planets? Very, very unlikely. And so if you didn't figure it out before, you realize that the planet of the Apes is actually Earth. I saw this with my daughter, and she was like, "Oh, that's we watched it last week. I was prepping for the show, and she hadn't seen it before, and she was like, "Oh, so it's Earth." I get it. And of course, Madman has been saving this quote here from the Simpsons musical, Planet of the Apes. Yeah, and that's about it.
Yep, the big shocking ending, which apparently was kept under lock and key successfully.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I was reading about.
It wasn't, 100% obvious. The English speaking monkeys was a little bit of a hint, but you could hand wave that away. I think this is this is, especially for the time, this is a pretty good of a surprise ending. Well done overall for the time. I'm not sure if you agree or not, but
I think it was a great surprise ending.
I think I was surprised when I first saw the movie.
I'm sure.
I was not surprised, but at least, oh, it's Earth.
I'm sure I was. Again, I was a little kid when I saw it, and from before I saw the movie, like I said, I saw had the toys or whatever, and I didn't have any concept of what the real story was. So I'm sure it was like, oh, and I'm also sure I was very confused. Also the swearing probably set me confused. But it was, it's like, wait a minute. So, I'm sure there was some baby brain.
The Statue of Liberty get on this planet?
Yeah, exactly. Something like that, where it's like, what, and at some point later on, I figured out, oh, okay, this is it. But probably the next movie. But
I think I didn't see. I would have seen the movie. I think way after, at least 10 years or more later.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 12 or something like that, when it was on TV or something like that. So, yeah. So I think I was older than you when I saw it, but
yeah. So now, can I talk a little bit about the novel?
The novel.
Yeah.
Why don't we just quickly mention the themes in the movie?
Okay.
So I think the two main themes are science versus religion. I think that's a big theme within the movie. How we treat lesser species, and also a little bit about. I think that's one of the comments, and maybe a little bit about. It kind of goes with lesser species, but how do you treat emerging intelligences, right? Like, how would we treat apes if they started to become more intelligent? And this might, I don't think they specifically are trying to talk about this, but in present day, this is one of the things this is a comment on, or if we develop artificial intelligence, how will we treat that? The apes see, this human, emerging. It's not really emerging, but they now know that humans can be intelligent. How are they going to treat them? How should we be treating some of our higher animals in our own, in our present day? I don't know. Is that, would you agree with those kind of themes going through? Or are there any others that you see?
Well, like I said, the hippie kind of thing. Uh, is there, and it's got overtones of counterculture kind of thing.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the biggest part of it though. I think that was. I mean, okay, let's talk about the novels a bit. I mean, I haven't read them. They weren't written in the '60s, so is that counterculture stuff just sort of inserted for the movie, or is that part of the novel?
No, it's the movie. The movie it put those things in there.
Right.
Again, it's
because the novel was written in '63, right? So it's not really, it's a pretty quick to go into a movie. You don't usually do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is true. It was a rather short period of time, but that's what I wanted to mention. The novel is not like the movie. It's there are similarities, but it's really the novel is kind of like a mixture between the first and the third movie.
Planet of the Apes and Escape from Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, switching things around,
going back and forth.
Like I said, there. Okay, so the original the novel is that it starts out with this couple flying through space, and they basically find a story in a bottle floating in space, and it's written by this guy who he's telling his story, what happened to him, and so the story is more similar. Well, it starts out kind of like the beginning, where I mean, they're intentionally coming to a planet. They land on a planet where they have these intelligent apes. They hunt them and trap them and everything. But then it switches. Zira's in it and everything, where they have it in Cornelius, and they the same thing with them finding out that he's intelligent and everything. But then it shifts basically to the third movie, in reverse, where he is treated like, spoilers if anyone's, the third movie, where you have Cornelius and Zira back in time on Earth, where he's and they're like celebrities for a short period of time at least.
Yeah.
And it's in reverse world. So this human is like a celebrity on the ape world. And then you kind of get into the same, he has their Nova's in it as well, but so it's not a astronaut, he's a journalist. And then they have a child and everything. It's the same kind of thing, where they take off. They're trying to escape, just like Cornelius and Zira are, and and they come back to Earth, where they find intelligent apes. And because time dilation was part of this too, so they're way in the future. So while they were gone from Earth, this evolution happened, becoming the Planet of the Apes. But in a modern sense, it wasn't the primitive sense. It was just they were like in our. So did you ever see the movie with Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah, I saw the Wahlberg movie.
It was a lot like that. Like the ending of it was more
where Wahlberg comes back and he lands at the and sees Ape Lincoln, and
right. That's very close to the original novel. And then the big reveal at the end of the novel is that the couple that was flying through space are actually chimpanzees. And and so then they just it's like they just dismiss the story as nonsense, because there's no such thing as intelligent humans. So it's kind of like that. But so all this other stuff that came in, really was added for the movie.
I don't. I mean, I don't have a problem with the movie because the movie kind of, it kind of loops in on the movies, the 5 movies loop in on themselves, and so we find out that because in the third movie, Zira and Cornelius go back in time. They have a baby, and that baby, is what makes the gets into the ape. He escapes, and he's able to then make the bring his genetic code into our present day apes, chimpanzees, which his intelligence is then passed on, which makes them more intelligent. And it would sort of make sense as to how they speak English, because in later movies the apes are used as pets, and then eventually slaves. So they would become more intelligent, and they might pick up their ability to speak, and eventually why not use our language if that's what they were using to fight us off, or survive after a nuclear war or whatever. So that makes sense. There's some questions in this movie which are resolved by later movies. So I appreciate that aspect. Yeah, Caesar is the name of their child. Yeah. Did you see any of the newer movies, Cam? And what was your? You have any thoughts about those?
I saw, like I said, I saw the one with Mark Wahlberg, and I saw
that's kind of a separate,
right.
It's not, doesn't fit into the other.
Yeah, and I saw I forget what the name of it was. The one with the first one. What's his name?
Yeah, he's in everything.
Name escapes me right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll come to me in a second. Anyway, go ahead. Keep going.
No, I saw the first in that series. I haven't seen the others.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes is what it's called, and it's no, am I wrong? Not Rise. It's Andy Serkis's Caesar, for these new movies. Was it Dawn of the Planet of the Apes? It says Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but what's his name is not on there. Yeah, Marky Mark isn't in all of them. No, Marky Mark is in. So you've got the Planet of the Apes, the first 5 Planet of the Apes, which were done in the 70s. Battle for the Planet of the Apes is the last one. That was made in 73. And then you have Planet of the Apes, which is Mark Wahlberg in 2001. And that's the one was Ken was talking about. A little bit weird, a little different. And then we start with, there was another one. Oh, they don't have it on here. It was with, hold on a second. Let me just think of his name. Just James Franco. I always forget. James Franco is in that movie. And right. It's the story of how the apes become intelligent. There's some sort of, they give him he's working, he's a scientist, he gives him a shot. And that starts that is part of it, but it's not listed here in this. I just IMDb'd it, and it comes up with Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet, and War for the Planet of the Apes, which is the ones with Andy Serkis as Caesar, and you've got Woody Harrelson in some of them as a human, Gary Oldman. I think I watched the first one. I kind of felt that I should, I wasn't drawn to them. I guess I kind of like the first, the originals. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Ken?
I kind of, I don't know. I wish I actually do have some of the other ones at DVD. I never watched them. I wish I would have finished it. because I think from what I've heard, they are in a lot of ways paralleling, like some of the later ones are paralleling some of the later of the original movies, like Battle for Planet of the Apes and Conquest Planet of the
Yeah,
Apes kind of thing. And clearly the first of the movies with James Franco, uh, it does have a lot of similarities to the fourth movie of the original one, of the original five. Um, it's not exactly the same, but it's got, like I said, some similarities. The way that the apes are, and in at least the case of, well, Caesar is the character, and Caesar
yeah,
is also in those movies. So it's not exactly the same, but uh, yeah. So
yeah,
I mean, I liked it okay, but I didn't finish it. So
yeah. No, he was. It was my mistake. He was. Yeah, he is in Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That is the first one. My mistake. So James Franco is in that. He's the. I mean, he's not listed as the star, but he is the. I mean, he's the main. He's doing everything. Um, yeah, and then yeah, those kind of follow. Where these movies, you've got Planet of the Apes, and then you've got Beneath the Planet of the Apes, which is the mutant humans, and then you go back, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, where Zira and Cornelius, get in the spaceship and they go back to the 70s and Earth, and they start that whole process, completing the loop by having a child who's intelligent, and that child, then goes, becomes part of the general apes, and they become intelligent that way, partially, also because so those movies, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes is kind of about that, and then Battle of the Planet of the Apes is, I think, further on after a war, where it's the battle for who gets to be, to run the planet, the apes or the men. So yeah, Rise of the Planet of the Apes was, it kind of follows the original fourth and fifth movies, in that they're kind of into that, right? The Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes. I've seen parts of them. I don't think I've seen the whole thing. I'm just looking up here. So, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, a substance designed to help the brain repair itself, gives advanced intelligence to a chimpanzee who leads an ape uprising. That's the one with James Franco. And then a fragile peace between Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Fragile peace between apes and humans is threatened as mistrust and betrayal threaten to plunge both tribes into a war for dominance over the earth. And War for the Planet of the Apes. After the apes suffer unimaginable losses, Caesar wrestles with his darker instincts and begins his own mythic quest to avenge his kind. So those are kind of they're going the story, from like linearly, right, from beginning to end, as opposed to the original movies, which kind of go start at the end and then go a little bit through the end and then jump back and go back to the original thing. You only seen the first of the reboots. Yeah, that's kind of me. I've seen parts of the other ones too. I mean, they're well acted. Andy Serkis is very good as Caesar. They do everything motion capture. It looks fairly real. Though I didn't have trouble with the originals either. I forgot Planet of the Apes TV series and animated series. I didn't forget it. I kind of know about it, sort of, but I didn't really follow it at all. Cam, did you? I haven't seen any of the TV series or the animated series.
I have seen. I haven't seen the animated series. I did see some of the original TV series, and as I mentioned, some of the toys were based on that. I forget the two guys; they were also astronauts. The humans in there that were, and it is different because like the humans were intelligent at that time, so it was closest, I guess, to the last movie where you had intelligent humans and intelligent apes living
peacefully
together.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the fifth movie is told kind of like a story, right? Like you've got humans and apes all sitting together, and there's like a senior person telling you this story about what happened in the past, kind of, if I remember correctly. I haven't seen it recently. So PB is talking about the series, television series, I think. I mean, I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on that. But yeah, I mean, they've done fairly good it's done pretty well. I mean, they've got 2 sets of it. A regular 5 movie set, which did fairly well. A reboot, another reboot of 3 movies, and then plus before they also had a TV series and an animated series. That's pretty. That's quite a lot. His son was named Caesar, if I remember.
Yeah, Cornelius and Caesar is their baby.
Caesar is their son.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael's giving us a little bit more. He knows a bit about it. Take place after the TV show and the animated series take place after the apes take over. TV show seems to take place soon after the 5th movie. Human submissive but somewhat trusted. Interesting. So this was kind of an original, big budget. Rodney McDowell was in the TV series as Galen. I noticed that Ricardo Montalban was also in the last 2 movies playing a character. I forget the name.
He was really in. He was in the 4th movie primarily. Did he appear at the beginning of the 5th movie? There was a time jump between the 4th and 5th movies, so he was in the 4th movie. It was the end of the 3rd movie and the 4th movie, I believe.
Let me just. Yeah, you're probably right. I saw his name in the trailer just today when I was looking at it. Yeah, he's in the 4th movie for sure. His name is 3rd on the list here, which is Armando is the character he plays. That's from Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, where the apes are with guns and killing everybody. Caesar also had his son named Caesar, and he's in charge during the later end of the series. I think that was I find that a little bit confusing because the little, the small ape was named Caesar, and then later on, like the Conquest of the Planet of the Apes seems to happen, sometime after the escape, right? Is that correct?
Say that one more time.
I said that Conquest of the Planet of the Apes seems to happen sometime after escape.
Yes, it's basically time enough for him to grow up because Caesar.
Yeah, it just says 20 years.
Yeah, because he's basically an adult.
Yeah, I thought it was more than that because it seemed more the background seemed more advanced than the world of Escape of Planet of the Apes. But I guess
it became rapidly dystopian apparently because it got real weird in that short period of time.
Yeah,
because in Escape of the Planet of the Apes is basically conventional 20th century
60s, early 70s,
right?
And then it looks like some of the scenes look, the backgrounds look much more future sci-fi, like it might take place 50 years from now or something like that. Rodney McDowell plays Cornelius, Caesar, and Galen. Interesting. Yeah, he plays Caesar in the later movies. The son sounds just like him. But I guess that was because he's doing a good job, but I guess they think that he's his son, so maybe it's all right if he sounds the same, and it makes you think that he's the son. But he's a good actor as well, so that's probably why they wanted to keep with him.
Mm-hmm.
And Charlton Heston is in the second movie a little bit, which was nice to have him. I don't think he wanted to do it or something, but they just put him in at the end in Beneath the Planet of the Apes, which I like Beneath the Planet of the Apes as well. I think it's a good, the whole, the mutant humans worshiping of the bomb. I thought that was pretty well done. It was kind of fun. The animated Apes series lived in the city, and the army had armored vehicles. I didn't see that. We got to dig up some of these really old things sometimes. All right, Cam, is there anything else you wanted to say about the book series or?
No, I just I kind of I didn't realize that it was going to be so different from the novel because I was just like, I think I'm going to pick that up, and I kind of had this kick where I wanted to read novels of movies I had seen, and this was one of them. So I mean, I liked it. It was good, and like I said, you can clearly see these pieces where they did do it, but the movies did diverge from it very significantly.
I will have to pick that up and check it out. I
Well,
haven't read it.
one other note is apparently in the movie they wanted it to be a futuristic modern society at least, and they couldn't afford it, so they decided to go with it. That's why they
What
decided to go with the apes. Yeah,
the apes city?
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Oh,
Because the book they were, well, okay, so the the characters come from the future to begin with, so they are from the year 2500, um, and at the start of it, and so things are more advanced to begin with. So the ape society is advanced as well.
hmm. I uh, I enjoyed this take on it. Yeah, when the Mark Wahlberg version of Planet of the Apes, when the humans started talking, I was like, "What?" I'm like, "No, don't have them talk." I was disappointed, but that one was kind of aborted. They did that one, and then they just like, "All right, we just pretend that never happened." Um, both show and animated have rifles, yeah. So quite some different takes on the whole story. Um, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, is that's another one that they? How come it's not listed? Is that the next one? That must be the next one that they came out 2024. How come they're not? It's not listed. That's more. Yeah, 2024. So we're at 4 now of Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which it's kind of a not quite a prequel, but showing that I always saw the Dawn and War very similar, but Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, so it has come out 2024 last year. Yeah. Night, PB. Thanks for coming by.
So, did you like it?
What, the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it from the beginning. I always liked it when I first saw it. And I'm a little, like I said, I don't I'm not keen on seeing the new ones because I'm like, oh, what's wrong with the old stuff? I think the older ones are a little bit, they aren't as well liked. Um,
See, as in terms of the older ones, I like the first one,
mhm.
and I don't like the second one. Um,
Really,
yeah, and then I like the third, fourth, and fifth ones. So
really, because
yeah,
I
I
like
think
the second one too.
I really
There,
like the fifth one. That might be my favorite
really.
overall. Yeah.
Okay, let me hear. Let me now. This is Rotten Tomatoes. Let me tell you what Rotten Tomatoes says about. Sorry, when they give what they give the movies. Take this as you will. The first one, Planet of the Apes, 68, 86%, which is pretty good. Um, the Beneath the Planet of the Apes, which I enjoyed because another spaceman comes and he's like, hey. Um, and he eventually finds out what's going on. He's there to save Taylor and these guys. That one 37%. It's pretty bad. 1970. Escape from the Planet of the Apes 75. 71 and 1972 Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. They have it here's a 52, which is not good. Battle of the Planet of the Apes 73, 33. Worse than Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Okay, what value are those ratings though
I don't
for
know.
things that came, a rating system that came around, 40 years after the
Yeah,
movies? I
yeah.
mean,
They're looking at. You're right. They're looking at. They're giving a rating for the movie. Now after. You're right. I mean, good point. But I mean, yeah, I would. I mean, Planet of the Apes. I mean, that's pretty good. 86 is that's pretty good. I think that Beneath the Planet of the Apes gets a little too much hate in that one, but I thought the fourth and fifth one were a little bit weaker than the first three. But was the one where they got the ticker tape parade? I don't know. Oh, that was Escape from Planet of the Apes, I guess, right? Because the apes show up and they're given the humans are like, oh, first they treat them as sort of they treat them as animals, but then Zira gives it up and starts talking, and then they become celebrities and everybody loves them. But then of course they find out that the government drugs them or something, gives her alcohol or something, and they start asking them questions about what the society she came from.
Right.
And
You know who's doing that? Forbin.
Forbin's doing that.
Yeah.
They drug them, and they find out that, oh yeah, she's an animal psychologist. She used to do brain surgery, exploratory brain surgery on humans all the time. Yeah, it was no big deal. And they're like, wait a second, what? We lose? We're not on the top anymore. Ho ho! Got to put a stop to that. But yeah, that's ticker tape parade. There's they get treated like celebrities, which Cam mentioned in the other, which was reversed in the book. But yeah, that's Escape from Planet of the Apes. I think they're all grape juice plus. Yeah, that's what they calls it. Grape juice plus alcohol. We don't know what alcohol is. I think that's a little bit harsh. I thought that the last two were less, not quite as good as the first three of the original. But I mean, I think these ratings are a little bit harsh. I didn't think they were that bad, but anyway, that's my thoughts. And you were like, you said you liked one. You didn't like the second Beneath the Planet of the Apes. And what did you say, Cam? You liked Escape, Conquest, and Battle?
Yep.
Fourth one, Michael says, fourth one had a heavily re-edited ending. Original ending was Caesar ordering the death of all humans, including the sympathetic black humans. End of movie. Oh.
Yeah, it was edited because of race riot overtones.
That's a little harsh.
Yeah, you could see it if you watch it. They basically, you just have Caesar kind of cut out, or filmed differently.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen. I've only seen those, those two, maybe once. The other ones I've seen a couple times, but yeah. Well, I mean, it would have been Conquest Planet of the Apes, 1972. That would have been, difficult time. Did you have any comment on how they treated, Dodge in the movie?
The overall story treated him.
Yeah, the black. I mean, he's a black actor. I think, I think they're trying to, they're being a little bit progressive. They're trying to say, because they've got this, it's 1968, 67, 66. They're making this movie. They're having a crew that's got white and black people in it. So they're trying to, look to the future a little bit. I would guess. I don't know what do you think?
I didn't. I had no reaction or notice of it at all. It just, he was kind of a minor character. He was kind of just there for a bit, and like I said, he did his little science thing, and that was about it. I didn't see any commentary coming from that casting.
No commentary, but yeah. All right. I assume they put him, they were like, they're trying,
I mean, maybe they did. Like
again, Star Trek, they're trying to show, hey, in the future, there's not, everybody's different races are all involved. But
my perception is maybe, again, coming a little later, that isn't something that would have stood out. It didn't stand out to me, when I was a little kid, even, it wasn't like, oh, why is that black guy a scientist? That's not possible. I mean, it just wasn't.
No, of course not.
I'm saying that was, I wouldn't assume that was the mindset of anyone in 1968 either. But again, that's a little before my time. So maybe there were people that thought that, but that was not ever.
I'm always assuming that they're the writers are purposefully, or the people making the movie are purposely trying to present a more a less conflicted racial situation or something like that, in order to say, hey, in the future we're going to be a little less worried about that stuff. Hopefully, I'm not sure. Yeah. Anyway, I think. I mean, I kind of wanted to talk about. I thought the themes, like the science versus religion thing, was quite strong within the movie, and I assumed that there was a, they were trying to say something, very particular about that, and as well with the, the treating of lesser species, and how we treat, because there's always talk about how intelligent dolphins and gorillas, chimpanzees are close to us, and somewhat you know potentially as intelligent or as us, or could be, right? And that's a theme within science fiction and other stories as well. I thought those were the two strongest commentaries that the movie was trying to make.
Yeah, that was definitely there. And I don't know. Again, when I was a little kid, I probably didn't even pick up on it. It's like I said in this rewatch, it seemed almost a little bit absurd, but that's not
some of the aspects of.
Well, just again that it was so. Again, okay, so the orangutans are representing a religious view, or something.
Yeah, political, religious, administrative caste.
Right, and they have something that, I mean, they're literally interacting with the thing that they're denying, kind of it is relevant, and that just feels ludicrous to me. It's like,
you don't think that's like back in our own, where you've seen, what Galileo talking about, there's a scene from a movie or something where, he's talking to the religious types, and he's saying, okay, I've got this orange, I got this grape, right? And they're like, well, the heavier one will fall faster. And he says, okay, well, this orange is about 20 times heavier than the grape, right? I'm like, yeah. So if I drop them from here and they should hit the ground, this one will only, the grape should only go 1/20th of the distance, and then the orange will already be on the table. And they're like, okay, well, that makes logical sense. And of course, he drops them, they both fall at the same speed and hit the table at the same time. And he's like, wow. And they're like, wow, but it can't be, right? You don't think that we are able to, humans were for a long time able to do that?
No, because that's, of course, you've just opened a can of worms. The whole well, first of all, I don't think that the gravitational constant was particularly controversial, and that the whole thing is misconstrued by people in the 1800s to be something that it wasn't. The Galileo affair, that is, and it's portrayed by people for their own political purposes as being a clash between, the conflict theory, clash between religion and science, which is in the case of Galileo, at least, it was not true. There were issues there, but the actual conflict was between the scientific things he was presenting and settled science of the day. Same thing with the heliocentric versus geocentric model,
right?
For example, those were not he was in conflict with again settled science, kind of thing. And so no, I don't. I understand what you're saying, and that's kind of the commonly accepted. That's basically what we're taught about it, but it's not particularly accurate in my opinion. And I think it's not as clear cut. Again, when it's like you're dealing with something literally right in front of you. It's like it's again, if people were arguing about what color something is, and you're all looking at it, and someone says, "Oh, that's black," and then the guy says, "Yeah, it's white because my religion says it's white," and it's like that seems like a crazy stretch to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't agree with our ability to,
you know,
deny what is obvious and right in front of us? Like, I mean, that's the
I'm
kind of.
saying I'm
I
saying
mean,
it's
you're
taken to
right with what you said, but I'm saying that's the sort of the big picture that we're. I think that maybe they're trying to, put forward. Like, we have the ability to deny what's obvious to us. I mean, I use that. Maybe I didn't use a good example for that, but that's the bigger picture. I mean, would you agree or not?
I'm saying that the theme is. I'm saying that I think it's overplayed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can buy that. I mean, perhaps it is. I mean, just because if the movie's trying to say that, it doesn't, it could be trying to say that, which is something that didn't happen or wasn't as isn't a big a thing as we think in history. I mean, I think that theme is in there though. There's definitely, the science versus religion is pushed, or the the new thought based on logic versus the old thought, which would based on belief or resistant to logic, the logic that's obvious to us. But anyway, yeah. Any other themes that you see within the movie that I didn't mention?
No.
No, not really. Okay. All right. I think that we're. I mean, maybe I'm dragging things out a bit here. Sorry. All right. I think that's about it of our discussion. Is there anything else that you missed that you wanted to bring up about the movie? No,
No.
not really. Yes. All right. There's some great quotes from the movie. That's sort of three main big quotes that you should always people should always be able to quote from and recognize them. I got them down at the bottom too. I think the madhouse one is when he's getting sprayed, and the other two are a little more obvious. Yeah, I think the madhouse one's good too, though. Yeah. Okay, well that's it for the show. Coming up next in the future, Cam, what's coming up? Do you want to mention something?
No, I don't. I have no idea what we're doing.
No idea. Okay.
I mean, other than the interview you were talking about.
Yeah. Babylon 5. Well, we got Babylon 5 coming up on Wednesday. We're going to be taking a bit of a break in a sense. We're going to have an open line. Come in, talk about season 2 or season 1 if you want. We'll bring people in. Cycle them in and out, whatever happens. We don't know how many people are showing up. It's Thanksgiving in America, so I don't know who's going to. Maybe everybody's getting ready for Thanksgiving, traveling or something. And maybe no one will show up, but maybe they'll be at home and they'll be like, "Hey, I don't have to go to work tomorrow. I'm going to watch the show." I'm not sure. Cam, are you going to be there for the show, or are you busy getting ready for?
Yeah, I'll be there.
You'll be there. Okay. Well, Cam will be there. So. Hey, Cam will be there. Madman Cafe tomorrow, Monday, right, Madman? And he's talking about. I'm not sure what he's talking about offhand. He told me, but it's escaped my mind here in a second. Let me just. What is it? You posted after the show chat on Discord. Yeah, I'll show up there. Where are the famous quotes from the Ape musical? I think I did them. Get your hands off me, you dirty ape. He can talk. He can talk. He can talk. He can sing. I think we covered those ones a little bit. Yeah, we'll go to Stargate. Yeah, you're talking about Stargate. Yeah, that's a big. Yeah, I don't know too much about that, but I'm interested to hear. I'll probably pop in tomorrow. Jeff picked up his turkey. All right. Way to go. Awesome. Send a Discord invite. Do you want to? You can just jump in. You don't need a Discord invite. You're on the Discord, Michael. You just go into the after show, into the Speakeasy voice channel, and a bunch of us hang out there afterwards. Yeah, you can just jump in. I don't think you need a Discord invite, do you? I don't. It should be able to jump in there. Yeah, so we mentioned this week the show. I'm not sure how it's, we'll see how it goes. It's going to be pretty relaxed. And then, of course, after that, the next week, we'll jump right into season 3. Are you excited for that, Cam?
Yeah, I am.
You are? Yeah. It's a pretty big season, right? The best one. Will we talk about Stargate in 1895? I don't know. I have to ask Madman about that. Jeff won't be there on you're not going to be there on Monday or Wednesday. Is that what you're saying? You're going to be playing Shadowrun. Is that what? Yeah. And of course, next week, I've got a 2-hour-long interview that I live recorded today with Neil Asher, the big science fiction author. I think it was pretty good interview. I'm sure Cam will eventually watch it and tell me that it sucked, but I enjoyed the interview. He's pretty easy to talk to. He's pretty open with his thoughts and beliefs and everything. So it was, he's pretty young guy. I don't think he mentioned a couple times because he doesn't care what people think about him anymore. So he'll just be open and say whatever he wants. And he's got 40 books out there, most of them in this universe called the Polity, and we talk a little bit about his universe as well. I haven't read all of his books, but I've read certain ones, so I got a little bit knowledgeable about it. I mean, of course, he's even more so, and he talks about some of the details of his books and stuff, how he got started, that kind of thing. At the end of the interview, we talk a little bit about modern AI, a little bit about AI, and a little bit about Elon, and Elon talking about the post-scarcity society, which Elon has kind of suggested is going to happen within 10 years, because of AI and robots. I don't know if that's true, but he's a big fan of of Lord of the Rings as well. Cam, it kind of got him into, not into reading per se, but he read The Hobbit and he's like, hey, more of this. And he does have an unpublished fantasy series, which I just never got around to publishing yet. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so what do we talk about? Start 7 tomorrow night. Oh, that's Death Angel Shadow. He's his thing's tomorrow at 7. All right. And Michael, will we talk about MGM suing an RPG company for too much like Stargate game, which is probably 10 years before the movie? That's for Q2. That's something you could bring up. He's bringing up. It's a fairly open invite for anybody who wants to come on and talk about something. It's mostly about the new series coming to Amazon. All right, right on. Yeah. So I hope you guys will enjoy the interview next week. We're going to give Cam the night off. Cam, is that all right with you?
Sure.
Take the it's the holiday weekend for you. So yeah, take the night off. I'm just going to put I'll put the interview up on the show. Let it run for the 2 hours, and I don't know. I should be in the chat if anybody wants to ask me questions or that sort of thing. But it's Neil won't be there. He won't be live because it's dark 30 in the UK where he lives. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. But if it goes well and people enjoy it, maybe I can change the time of the show around sometime and get him on here for some we can actually answer questions. And then on the 30th, a new show. Are you talking about this show, or the 30th is next Sunday? That'll be the interview. And then after that, I'm not sure what we're doing. But yeah. All right. Okay. I think I've rambled long enough, Cam.
Okay.
You'd agree?
Yep.
Anything you got?
Nope.
That's it. Okay.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Oh wait, I'll be able to say that on Wednesday, I suppose. But in case some people don't watch that show, Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's a good point. Happy American Thanksgiving.
Death Angel Shadow saying a new show on the 30th. What?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that. New show on the 30th. Oh, I know what he's talking about. Are you guys ready to? Are you announcing that, Cam, or is that secret?
Up to Jeff.
Yeah. Okay. I've heard a little bit about this, but apparently there's going to be a show before my show. That's something's going to happen on it. I'm not sure if you settled it. You're ready to announce that or anything. Maybe we'll focus more on Wednesday. Mention that on Wednesday when you guys got it going and promote it that way. This show is being canceled because of the toxic jokes. Oh, thanks for reminding me. I almost forgot the jokes. We should have twice as many jokes, Cam, this one, because next week we probably won't have jokes because it's a recorded show.
Wait, you didn't subject Neil Asher to jokes?
No, I did not. I wanted him to come and view the show, or sorry, perhaps be interviewed later on again if I wanted to, or I don't know, maybe send me something for free or connect me up with his other writer friends who might think so. Yeah, he did. I did put the. I'm curious. He didn't comment on it, but I have to ask him. He did see the intro and outro because I slapped those on before, just so that I wouldn't have to do any editing. So I'm wondering what he thought about the intro and outro. He's like, these guys are right crazy. What the heck? He was a little disappointed that you didn't come on the show. He's like, oh, you normally have a co-host. Is he going to be here? Who's the co-host? Asking all these questions.
That didn't.
I'm like, oh yeah, he was too scared to come on, and I didn't say that. I said,
yeah, cool story, bro.
No, he was interested. He's like, oh, you're co-host. You got a co-host. Where's your co-host? But I said, oh, he couldn't. I covered for you. I said you couldn't make it because you were in a car accident or something.
Oh,
yeah. So,
well, I'm just glad that you had a fun time and a good interview that everyone can enjoy.
Yeah, I do. I'm pretty proud. So when you listen to it, don't say bad things about the poor interviewing skills that I did. I'll be sad. But yeah, I think it went pretty well. We'll see. We'll see how people react to it. Okay, so if we're not going to have any jokes next week, we should probably have twice as many jokes this week to make up for it, right?
Sure.
Does that make sense, Cam? All right. Let me ask you, Cam. Why did the monkey like the banana? Do you know?
Why did the monkey like the banana?
Because it had appeal. Get it? Appeal, like appeal as in it was appealing, but also bananas have peels. Yeah, you get that?
I get it.
Ooh, that's a good one. We should probably save that one to last. Maybe not. We'll just go. What do you call a monkey at the North Pole?
I'm sorry, did you say a monkey in law?
What do you call a monkey at the North Pole?
Oh, a monkey at the North Pole. I don't know.
Lost.
Okay.
I don't have to explain that one, do I?
No.
That was maybe the best one. Maybe I should have saved that one. This is bad. Why did the monkey sit on a clock?
Why did a monkey sit on a clock?
Because it wanted to be on time. So it's sitting on top of time. So it's on time. Okay, well, I was going to do 4, but that's 3, and the rest of these are even worse. I don't even want to read them. They're so bad.
Oh,
so
I think since when has that been a barrier?
It hasn't normally been, but this is just, I'm just like, what? How come all these jokes have the joke is something with peel in it? How many of them, how can you have, peel, the punchline is peel. Everything's about bananas and peeling them. That's pretty bad. Yeah. So, you were being snarky. Oh, Jeff was being snarky with his answer. Lost. Well, it is lost. That's the answer. That's good. You anticipate it. All right. Well, that's it. That's it for the show. Hopefully, we'll see everybody on Wednesday, and I hope you will. I'm gonna promote the interview pretty big for next week. I hope everyone comes, checks it out, and sees my awesome interview skills. And Neil Asher seems like a really good guy from me talking to him. I think you guys will enjoy it. Check it out. And if you're any interested in any of his books, he talks a little bit about them, so you can, you're like, hey, if I wanted to read one, you'll get a good idea of where you should go, where you start. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everybody who doesn't show up on Wednesday. Yeah, good night, everybody.
Good night.
See you on Wednesday or next week. Good night.